It's finally actually happened, our first glimpse at Assassin's Creed Mirage gameplay, and I'm being serious, you can see it right here.
Ouais. Sympa ce petit gameplay, hein.
And I know I sound excited right now, but that's because I am. It's been months without anything official from Ubisoft, and finally, we've actually seen the game. I know it's blurry, but at least it's something. The game exists. So this leak has come from Jonathan on Instagram. He's a French content creator, and somehow, I don't know how, maybe you can let me know in the comments, but somehow he knows a lot about Assassin's Creed Mirage and seems to have an insider contact, or is an insider himself. He's the one that recently posted the UI from Assassin's Creed Mirage, and now he's posting gameplay. Now, yesterday, Jonathan posted on his Instagram story with just a still image of the gameplay, and the text here translated to English basically says, "This is not a Mirage." Clearly a play on words. He's saying, you're not hallucinating, this is real, this actually is gameplay. And about 30 minutes ago, as of recording, he posted some footage of Basim running down the streets of Baghdad. Kind of annoyingly, Jonathan has put a filter over the screen that makes it as blurry as it is. I actually DM'd Jonathan asking if he could send me the footage without the filter. I don't think that's likely, but you know, I thought it's worth a go, innit? But honestly, this is still groundbreaking for Mirage news because as we know, we've seen nothing since the CGI reveal trailer. We've never seen gameplay. So we're actually seeing the game in motion here. And I have a lot to talk about with this footage. So let's just get into this. I couldn't quite figure out what Jonathan was saying when he voiced over the clip, so if anyone is French or understands French, please let me know in the comments what he's saying. I assume he's basically just saying, look, here it is, or something like that. So firstly, I want to talk about the vibe. It's very Baghdadi, if that makes sense. Now, that's probably not a good word to use, but it's very warm, golden colors. It really has a nice feel from what we can see here. That might just be the filter talking, but I think it's also the gameplay. Now, also with animations, it's clear that this game has had a major step up in animation compared to Valhalla. We were complaining about parkour, running, every sort of animation in the game being less than they were in games like Unity. Now, from what I see here, it looks like Basim is running in a very similar animation style as Arno did in Assassin's Creed Unity. Now, I really like the look of this. I can't quite tell if they've just ripped the same animation from Unity and put it in Mirage, or this is kind of worked upon and made to fit Basim more. I'm gonna put running animations from Unity alongside the leaked footage right now, so you can get a feel of what looks better and how it kind of looks the same. Quick editor's note, is it just me or does it actually look more like Valhalla's running system as Unity? Now I've watched it more and looking at these side by side, I actually think it's just Valhalla's animation. So I kind of take that back, but I guess it's up to you guys to decide what you think it looks more like, Unity's or Valhalla's. But now I'm actually leaning more towards Valhalla, which is potentially not a good sign for parkour, but we'll see. Anyway, back to the other me. It also gives me very Assassin's Creed 3 vibes, the way he's running, so maybe, you know, it's a mix of the both. There's a few NPCs populating the street, one here and one just over there, so it looks like the game is near completion when it comes to, you know, development. Well, I guess I can't really say that, but it leans into my belief that the game's nearly ready because we will hopefully be seeing more gameplay in June. Again, it's blurry, but it looks like this building has some scaffolding next to it, maybe, and that's the sort of brown blur we can see to the left. And what I quite like is that the building is tall. The building is a lot taller than what we saw in Valhalla and Odyssey when it came to buildings. Now, this is what I expect, you know, it's a big city. Baghdad was the biggest city in the 9th century, the biggest city in the world. So yeah, expect to see many buildings as tall as this one and probably some much taller ones as well. Also, I just want to add, everybody keep your eyes on Jonathan's Instagram accounts because if he's leaking gameplay now, who knows what else he's going to leak up to the actual reveal at June. He could reveal some more gameplay, he could remove the filter, who knows what he's going to do. He might have a filter on screen because of, you know, he doesn't want to be sued by Ubisoft, you know, legally maybe he thinks if he puts a filter over it, he could have some plausible deniability or whatever the correct term is, saying, well, you know, it's not Mirage gameplay, it's just a filter. I'm sorry if it looks that way, but you could you can't say. Maybe that's why it's got a filter over it. I don't know. Or here's a wild theory. Maybe Ubisoft are actually working with Jonathan and they're actually asking him to do this to build up hype again for the Mirage reveal trailer or gameplay in June. I wouldn't be surprised if that's the case. I've always had a sneaky feeling that Ubisoft leak their games intentionally before announcement because they leak every single game, every single year. It would make sense to me because it's good marketing, and maybe that's what they're doing right now, and I'm leaning into that by making a video about it. Maybe. That's all speculation, of course. I'm not sure whether Jonathan is playing this or he just has gameplay footage. I don't know. If he's playing it, I would think maybe Ubisoft have given him access to an early build of the game or something like that, which again leads into the theory that maybe he's working with them to build hype. If not, maybe he just has access to an insider within the industry that has sent him the same gameplay footage that we will see in June at Ubisoft Forward. I also want to mention, a lot of people might be thinking right now, well, it could be fake. How do you know it's real? This could be made in Unreal Engine or something like that. It could be. That's always possible. But this Jonathan dude, he's leaked stuff in the past, he's been right, and he does have a decent amount of credibility. As well as that, if you look at the animations, they are similar, if not identical to kind of Assassin's Creed Unity's or maybe even Syndicate and Origins animation styles. And I think if you're making a game with a different engine, it's very hard to get identical animations. So I think that just leans into the fact that this is probably, and I'm 99% sure this is real. If we look right at the beginning of the video as he pans the camera up, you can see Basim is in more of a jog, and then he jumps into a run. Now this makes me think maybe high and low profile is going to make a return in Assassin's Creed Mirage. As we know, in most recent games, you could only run, you couldn't walk, or you couldn't jog. It was just one speed when you traveled. But with earlier games such as the Ezio trilogy, you could hold down RT, you would jog, you would hold down RT and A, and you'd start running. Maybe they're bringing that back. He does seem to be running a fair amount slower, and then as the peace signs come up from Jonathan, he starts sprinting. Now, maybe I'm looking too far into it, or it's just the angle of the camera, but it does look that way to me. I did make a video a while ago speculating whether high and low profile will make a return, and maybe I was right. Maybe it will make a return. It looks like it could, but again, this is very hard to actually see because of the blurry filter. As we can see, it does look like Basim with the robes he's wearing, very reminiscent of Assassin's Creed 1 with the robe colors, but you've got some unique Basim features such as the cowl over his head. If you zoom in here, you can kind of see that it's going over the robes by the look of it. He's got a brown belt on, and he's got some gauntlets or something like that. Now, I do think there will be customization very similar to Assassin's Creed Unity when it comes to gear that you can wear. So this is probably one of many different customization options when it comes to Basim. When we're looking at NPCs, it looks like the one in the distance here is wearing kind of a robe, which gives me very AC1 vibes when people would walk through the markets wearing long sort of robe type dresses or outfits. Again, I get very big AC1 vibes from the gameplay, which is exciting to me. I love that game and it was a fun game. So if we can incorporate AC Unity and maybe more modern style gameplay features, mix them up with AC1's vibe and writing, of course, we might be in for a very good time. Now, right at the beginning of the clip, we can see something red in the top left of the screen. Now, I'm assuming this is a market stall, and it's one of those red sort of cloths that go over the market stall to keep the seller away from the sun, keep him in the shade, and it looks to be that there is somebody stood there below it. So that makes a lot of sense to me. There looks also to be some fauna and flora, or whatever the freaking word's called, by the marketplace. There's something green, little bush, something like that. Now, I'm only talking about all the details because I want to analyze this and I want us to all have a great idea of what Mirage gameplay in Baghdad's actually going to be like. It looks like there could be some staircases to the right, like some steps, some stone ones that you can go up to a higher point of the town. I don't know. Again, it's all blurry, so it's hard to tell. A lot of palm trees around by the look of things, again, adding to that Baghdad vibe. As I said, Baghdadi, because I can't think of a better word. And as it zooms in, we get a little bit more detail of Basim as a character, but that's about it, and that's the gameplay. It's about time that we see some Mirage gameplay, so I am very happy that we've finally seen it. Again, I will say, take this with a grain of salt, because, you know, you have to say that when you see leaks, but to me, this is is 99% real, just from the person it's coming from, the reality of how the graphics look and the animations look. I don't think you could recreate it to that same extent in something like Blender or the Unity engine or Unreal Engine, you know. Again, don't take my word for it, but just a theory, a speculative theory of mine is that Ubisoft actually are working closely with this Jonathan guy. They're feeding him this footage. They're giving him this leaked stuff, which are blurry, which are hard to see, because they want to hype everybody up for Mirage so that when Ubisoft Forward rolls around, we see that gameplay, we are all on the edge of our seats, we know it's coming, we stick around for the whole stream. I wouldn't be surprised if that's the way it goes. And something that lends to my theory is a lot of people that work at Ubisoft are actually French. You know, there's Ubisoft Quebec, there's Ubisoft, I don't remember the rest of the team names, but there's a lot of French people that work within Ubisoft, and the owner himself is actually French. So seeing that this content creator is French himself, I don't know, maybe I'm looking into it too much, I'm reading too far in between the lines, but it just adds to my theory that they're working with him, in my opinion. Work with a French dude. I guess. I just feel personally that if Jonathan was getting this footage against the wishes of Ubisoft and was leaking it, there'd be a lawsuit on his hands. I just feel like that would be what happens, and I don't think people would just so callously leak a game under their direct persona. Yeah, do it anonymously and you might not get caught. But for Jonathan to just specifically do it outright and be like, it's me doing it, here's Mirage, I feel like it's a lawsuit on his hands if he was doing it against Ubisoft wishes. Again, leaning into my theory that Ubisoft are actually giving Jonathan this footage to leak himself to build up the hype for Mirage, because we all know that the hype for Mirage has died down a lot in the last few months because we haven't seen anything. Ubisoft know this. Ubisoft don't want any issues when it comes to Ubisoft Forward. They want this presentation to go swimmingly, and they want everybody excited as hell. So they released some leaked footage, a small snippet of gameplay, a little bit blurry, so that we can get a better idea of what we're going to see at the gameplay presentation in June. And there you go. We're all hyped up as hell. I know I am. What do you guys think? Let me know in the comments and we'll get a discussion going. Are you guys as excited as I am? Because honestly, I'm on the edge of my seat right now. Like literally, I'm sat on the edge of my seat. I like screamed into a pillow earlier. I was like, because, you know, the game might be bad and we've all talked about that. It's just so fun to be on the ride, on the hype train, to see where this game is going to go. And finally, we're actually getting somewhere. So if you guys want to stay up to date as much as me with everything to do with Assassin's Creed Mirage, then feel free to press that subscribe button, because God knows I will be covering everything to do with this game leading up to release and well into release. And once more, let's get a conversation going in the comments. I love you guys, mate. The Father of Understanding guide us. I will see you soon. Goodbye.